find reading speed fascinating. There are the speedy readers and there are the take your time readers, but I want to know what category I fall in. So we're going to be doing the 24-hour timer method in this video to see how many books I can read in that time, and also to hopefully entice me not to procrastinate when I'm reading. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I fear I'm quite hoarse. I had a rough night last night. Anyway, for the last 2 years I've been really into BookTok and BookTube. I have seen countless readathon videos and I have decided it is time to attempt my own. Now let's get one thing straight. We're not doing a 24-hour readathon in one go. Okay, I fear the only way that I'm going to be able to do this is if I take more of a Rachel Catherine approach. I'm going to set a 24-hour timer. Lord knows this could be over many days, and just let it go on until we reach the end and see how much I genuinely read in that time span. I thought this would be a great time to start the readathon. I have a few plans, but mostly we're going to be a homebody, and I'm currently reading Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I am loving this. It is giving massive 5-star feelings, and Abby Jimenez never misses. I've read the 2 other books in this kind of interconnected series and I rated both of them 5 stars. I think I liked Yours Truly slightly more than Part of Your World, but this at the moment is topping both of those. I'm having the best time with it. It is a romance book that follows Emma and Justin, and they're both cursed with the notion that everyone that they date ends up breaking up with them and then finding the love of their life straight after, and they kind of meet through a Reddit thread and they realise that they both have this same curse. So they decide, what if we date each other, cancel out the curse, and then hopefully we will both go on to meet the loves of our lives, which is such a fun niche concept. I swear that is there any other romance books like that out there? Probably not. It's set in Minnesota, which I have no knowledge on whatsoever, but I'm really enjoying the setting. As you can imagine, it is set in the summertime. Abby Jimenez writes such good emotional romances, but also characters with just really good crack and banter, which I love. Justin is literally hilarious, but he's also just so precious at the same time. His humor is just so up my street. He's so deadpan and dry at times, but in the best way. He's kind of self-deprecating a little bit, but he's also the epitome of if he wanted to, he would. It's literally stated in this book. Some of the things that he is doing for Emma is unreal. It's the most micro moment, but there's a part in the book where Emma's talking about how she doesn't like carrots, and then her mum gives her a martini or something with a carrot in it, and before she even has a chance to drink or take that in, Justin removes the carrot from her drink and just throws it. And why is that just the sweetest thing you've ever heard in your life? So I'm currently on page 233, which I believe is creeping on to 60% of the way through. Am I gonna finish it today? Honestly, it's possible. This reads really quick and easily, so it's a possibility, which works really well for me because I've got book club in a week and I haven't even started book club book and it's 600 pages. So let's get the infamous iPad out with the Sunny Angel, the fake Sunny Angel, and get a timer set. I can't believe I'm actually committing to a 24-hour readathon. 3, 2, 1. Let's get it. Also, before we get started, as I fear I never actually properly explained this, the timer method is basically me setting a timer for 24 hours. Every time I pick up a book and read, I will play the timer, and every time I stop reading, we will pause the timer. So unfortunately for me, I am an easily distracted reader, so if I was to put a 24-hour timer on for 24 hours and try and genuinely just read in that continuous time period, it would not be an accurate demonstration of how much I could actually read in 24 hours, because I probably would only read for a third of it. So this is it, and we're locking in. It's on 21 hours and 24 minutes and I've finished just for the summer. 5 stars. I swear to God, I knew 50 pages in this is going to be a 5-star read. So the 200 pages that I read today, how long did that take me? I can't do maths. Like 2.5 hours. I loved this. I loved it so much. Abby Jimenez just does everything in a blend perfectly, like literally perfectly. You've got the emotional depth. Both of our main characters have a lot of trauma that they're dealing with. There's like just really, like I kind of tried to mention, like just niche intimate topics that are just like so relatable, but they're like so specific. But I love reading about stuff like that you can just like instantly relate to. And obviously like just characters that you literally fall in love with so early on. Like I knew I was going to love Justin. As soon as I saw him and Emma interacting in like the first chapter, I was like, I love this guy. I think what makes this book so beautiful is the way that these characters are trying to deal with their own trauma, but yet they show up for each other. They have this like mutual understanding, even though they're not going through the exact same thing. They don't actually properly understand or comprehend exactly what it is that the other person is feeling, what they're battling with, what they're trying to like process, but they show up and they understand, they respect the boundaries, but they use their initiative. And amongst all that, they can still crack jokes and have the banter, and there's a chemistry and the sexual tension, and like it is just literally the perfect formula every time, and I will eat it up every time. I could sit here for ages and read out some of these quotes. It's funny how when you find someone you like as much as I liked her, the destination is suddenly wherever they are. Even if there's someplace better, you wouldn't go if they couldn't come. Maybe home isn't a place, maybe it's a person. He pulled me closer and kissed the top of my head, and for the first time maybe ever, I felt like I belonged somewhere. Huh? So I've got a book club in just under a week, and I haven't yet started reading the book, and I fear it's like 600 pages long. So I figured while I had the time to do a lot of reading over this Easter weekend, it was about time to start that read, and that is Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead, which I'm going to be reading on my Kindle. I don't know too much about it. It's a historical fiction. I think it follows 2 timelines. It's like an Amelia Earhart retelling, potentially. I think it's about a lady in the aviation industry way back in the early 1900s, like wartime period, goes to like the North and South Poles and like these hard to reach areas, but she disappears. And then I think there is a present day POV where somebody is creating like a film all about her life and obviously digging up the history and her past and that kind of thing. Actually sounds more interesting than I thought. When it was picked, I was like, okay, well this is book club, so this is why we're here, but this is definitely not something I would pick up. But upon reading the blurb and mulling over, I feel like this could be actually really interesting. So I've got it up on my library. I'm gonna buy it now and we're gonna start this evening. It started off kind of promising. Like the first chapter was in the present day where they're like filming this adaptation about what happened in this woman's life, and then every single chapter since then has been like in the past, and we're learning about this woman's, her family history. So like I'm on page 48 and we've only just really seen her. Like all the chapters are about like her parents and their parents and like way back, which like I guess it must have some relevance, but like it's feeling very info dump at the moment. Like so many names. It's actually surrounding like boats at the moment rather than planes. Being slightly tired as well probably isn't boding the best for me, but I am trying to get through it because I'm sure this must be relevant somehow. Days since I last saw you. We're currently about 16.5 hours left on our timer. Yeah, I told you it's going to take me a hot minute to finish this video, but I haven't updated you guys since I started Great Circle, and I think I was on 21.5 hours or something when I started it, and I'm literally 37% through the book. Here's the thing, as I mentioned, this is a book club pick. The genre for this month was historical fiction, so we knew it was going to be something along these lines, and I am not a historical fiction hater. In fact, under the right circumstances, I love a historical fiction. The thing is, it's just so dense and like detail specific. If I was someone that liked the war period or someone who had an interest in aviation and flying, I'm sure I'd be having more of a good time and maybe getting through this quicker. That doesn't interest me. I'm reading at a normal pace and I'm trying to digest all of the like specifics into flying, because we do get insights into how you actually operate a plane as a pilot, and just like place names, a lot of politics from like the early 1900s. There's a lot that we are learning in this book. And I'm not gonna lie, the past chapters are way more prominent than the present chapters. There's definitely a bigger lean towards the past, which is definitely the more detail heavy specific chapters, which are taking me a lot longer to get through, like process. Now, I'm much more enjoying the present as I thought I would. It's a lot more dramatic. I also love how dislikable the main character is in the present day. Like, she is just such a like toxic, high profile Hollywood girl. Like, she is selfish, she is unapologetic, like she just does not care, and I'm loving that drama. Equally, I'm not disliking the time we're spending in the past, because the woman from the past, Marion, who is this female aviating pioneer, if you will, we've followed literally before she was born and what her parents and their parents were doing, and then we've followed her all the way up until, I believe, where I'm at now, she's like 16. It goes into so much detail, and as I say, some of it, does it feel a bit unnecessary? Maybe. It's very troubling. Like, I guess what women used to go through back then, it's no surprise. It's not something that we don't know about, but it's heavier than I really thought it was going to be. There's a lot of time spent on like sexual encounters and just the way that worked between men and women back then, and being sort of taken advantage of at such a young age as a female. Like, it's quite deep and heavy at times, so it feels, some of it feels very necessary and like, I don't know, important, if you will, to touch on, but it's just way more than I was expecting, and it's just taking me so long to get through. Like, what do you mean I've been reading this for 5 hours and I'm not even 40% through yet? That pains me. So I feel like I want to take a new strategy, because I do not want this 24-hour readathon to just follow one book. I'm not enjoying it, but I'm not like enthralled by it. I'm appreciating it at the moment. Again, I don't think I'm the right demographic. I'm thinking, do I try and skim more of the historical chapters and then just like read and continue enjoying the present? Because I feel like if I skim the past chapters, I'm still going to be taking note of what's happening in the plot, but just all those ultra specifics I don't need to know about. I really wanted to get this book finished before we hit the single digits, and then maybe get 2-ish books read once I've got 10 hours left. I feel like 5 and 5 or 6 and 4, depending on the books that I'm going to pick up. That's where we're sitting at the moment. So we'll see. I've been reading for like another hour. I'm just over the halfway point. I think I'm gonna DNF. And like not in a bad way, not in a way where I think the book's bad. I am just not the audience for this. Like, I am really trying to persevere. And I appreciate the characters, I appreciate the plot, I also appreciate the writing. I just don't think I care enough to read the whole other half of this book. So I think I'm just gonna sit on Google and just get up a few spoiler reviews. I am intrigued to see what happens. I did literally just read that someone kind of important died, which is kind of sad, actually. Obviously I'm not going to say who. So many people are like, I finished this book, finally. I relate to that. Okay, I've just settled down for the night after deciding to DNF Great Circle. Timer is on, I think, just below 16 hours. Not 16 hours, 15 hours left on our timer. I'm going to kick the rest of this video off with The Strawberry Patch Pancake House by Laurie Gilmore, because I think this is the brainless, really quick, easy read that I need at this point of the video. So I've read all of the other books in this series, the Dream Harbour series, other than The Christmas Tree Farm, because I just didn't get around to it, and then Christmas was over, so I'll probably get to that at the end of this year. But yes, I want to get the Strawberry Pancake House read before spring is over, obviously, because it's giving all the spring vibes, and it is a recent release. It only came out last month, so the Kindle edition is only 345 pages, which I feel like for Kindle is even less than like your average book. I think we're going to probably read on our Kindle for the rest of this video mostly. Kindle reading I feel like makes me read quicker, and also there's just so many books on my Kindle that I want to get to. Let's start with Dream Harbour. I also forgot how cute the little maps are on this series. Can we please normalize maps on romance books, not just fantasy books? Because the Dream Harbour maps are freaking adorable. Let's start our timer. I'm going to read for only a little bit this evening, and then hopefully we'll get through a lot more of this book tomorrow as well. We are post shower, so sorry about the wet hair, but 12.5 hours, and I just wanted to talk to you guys about the Strawberry Pancake House because no updates. And I feel like when it comes to the Dream Harbour series, you do just kind of keep going and going and going, and then all of a sudden you're borderline done with the book. Like, they just read so quickly, and I never pick up a Dream Harbour book and think it's going to be my next 5-star. I don't care, because it's just a fun time, and it's palate cleansing, and it's like zero brain power, and sometimes it's what you need, especially after the DNF. So I'm currently 56% through, and my Kindle's saying I've got about an hour and 50 minutes left. I feel like I never have much to say about these books. I like the single dad concept. It's a like single dad nanny trope, and it's like a surprise child as well, which we found out really early on, so that's not a spoiler. I think it's the first sentence, I believe, touches on it. That's kind of an interesting dynamic. I do really like our main character. Christ, I actually don't even know her name. Oh good god, what's her name? Iris. Oh my god, I really like Iris. I think she's got a really fun personality, and she brings out the better sides of Archer, our main male character, so I'm really enjoying that. Is it crazy vibey? Not as much as I fear it should be, because one of the other things I come to these books for is purely just vibe, and I know the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, huge vibes, perfect book for autumn. Cinnamon Bun Cafe, a real letdown, literally set in summertime, so like why? It should be an autumnal book, surely. And then this one, I was hoping for like a bit more of a spring vibe. And I just feel like we've spent a lot of time in the house in this book so far. We haven't really ventured much outside, which again is nice and it's cute, and I'm enjoying spending time with the characters. And I feel like even the child is written pretty well in this book. I'm not cringing too much. I don't think her like speech is unrealistic for her age or that kind of stuff, because that is a massive bugbear for me when I read about children in books. Hoping for a little bit more vibe in the second half. I feel like in my last reading vlog I said how I always update the camera with a critique, and then literally the next chapter or two I read rectifies the situation. They've literally just said about the vibe check and how like I wish it was a bit more spring vibey. I'm on the second page since turning my camera on, and it's literally talking about how all these beautiful flowers have bloomed in the garden and how some of our characters had made strawberry shortcakes. This is what I needed, but like, why do I always do this? But I need to talk to you guys about the Strawberry Pancake House, which I did indeed finish last night. I just feel like there's nothing seriously good or seriously wrong with these books for the most part. Like, I go into it with an expectation, and normally the expectation is met exactly as to what I was expecting. I would say, was this my favourite one that I've read so far? I'm not sure. It ticked all the boxes that I wanted it to tick. I really liked our female main character. I liked the tropes that were in this book and the way that they were done. I liked the conflict because it felt realistic, and I can understand why it happened, and I feel like it was resolved pretty well. These books are short for a reason. It's just a quick, easy time. As with a lot of these kinds of romances, it's a cluster of spice. I don't ever like that, but to be honest, it's fine. I kind of know it's coming, and I can just kind of skim over those bits. Not that I'm a spice hater or anything, but I do find it's quite typical for these romances, particularly in this kind of series. When the spice eventually happens, there tends to be just like several chapters kind of back to back. They just kind of cram it all in, and that is just not for me. I find it boring. It starts to ick me out and make me cringe. It's just repetitive, obviously, and I just think it's unnecessary. Like, I don't need it that force-fed that much down my throat. There was like a lovely strawberry festival at the end of it, so it was hitting all those spring vibe checks that I was looking for, so that was also perfect. So yeah, overall I was satisfied with that read, and I finished it with 10 hours and 27 minutes left on the timer. So it's time to start the fourth book of this video. I am pretty certain I know what I want that book to be. I'm gonna read Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. I've wanted to read this book literally since last autumn when I think it came out, and I saw loads of booktubers getting it in their book of the month boxes, and instantly when they were reading the synopsis I was like, that sounds like a bit of me. I don't actually really know the plot specifically, but I've just heard it described as a more dark adult version of Caraval. Whilst Caraval was only like a 3-star kind of series for me, I still loved the concept. The fact that it's going to be like darker and more adult, I just feel like it's going to make it so much more interesting. Since Enchantra literally came out a couple of weeks ago, I thought this would be the perfect time to start Phantasma. Ben and I are going to an overnight spa stay tomorrow, so it's going to be just a really lovely, relaxing, quality time weekend together. Lots of R&R. Being in a spa 2 days in a row all day gives me plenty of reading time. So I don't know how much I will update the vlog, how much I'll even film. I will try and get some clips here and there. Phantasma is on Kindle Unlimited, which we love. I'm going to download it now and we're going to get reading. I look really crazy. I'm gonna disclaim here and now, I've got a book club in like an hour, and the assignment was to dress like the book that you're currently reading. Obviously, as we know, we're reading this. I've got like a rose skirt on. I just fear, if you give me an assignment, I will normally go over the top. Anyway, we've got I think about 7 hours left on the timer. We did still get a good chunk through Phantasma yesterday. I want to say I'm like halfway through. Page 181, chapter 23. Let's talk about it. I haven't updated you guys once. I can see so many Caraval similarities. At first, because it hasn't been that long since I finished reading the Caraval trilogy, kind of jarring when you feel like you're reading two very similar books back to back, but it's not really back to back. And I knew it was going to be like Caraval, so basically Stop Being a Baby. I prefer the way that this book is doing it. Then I think it's the adult twist on it, and my god, are some bits actually quite scary. Like, Grudge level scary. To give you a bit of context into what this book is about, what I've learned so far is there's two sisters, Ophelia and Genevieve. They come from a family of necromancers, and basically throughout the generations, one member of the family will kind of carry the main kind of necromancer powers and like responsibilities that comes with the role. So the two girls' mum has died, and Ophelia takes on the necromancer power. It's something that Genevieve has never really been interested in. She doesn't like it. She thinks that they should let the whole tradition die, and she basically takes off. There's also some financial troubles that their mum kept quiet. They're in trouble with the bank. I think essentially they're going to be getting like evicted from their home unless they can somehow find the money to pay. Anyway, Genevieve takes off, and I kind of blacked out a bit, but I think Ophelia suspects that she might be at Phantasma, so she enters Phantasma looking for Genevieve. Doesn't really know what she's getting herself into, but being a necromancer means that Ophelia can communicate with the other side, so ghosts, poltergeists, phantoms, all sorts. They call them apparitions. She can communicate fully with like all elements of the other side. She obviously meets a whole breadth of people in the games of Phantasma, including our other main character, Blackwell, who is a phantom that she is having communications with. It's a really fun dynamic and relationship because Blackwell loves to tease Ophelia, but at the same time he's also really helping her to survive. It's kind of a knife for an eye situation. He needs something that only Ophelia can provide with her necromancer abilities. He's kind of been trapped in Phantasma for ever and ever and ever, but he also has like a memory loss problem, so every time he might learn new information to help him finally escape being trapped there, he'll forget it, and having her being able to obviously communicate with him with her ability because he's a phantom. Her powers are beneficial to him, and obviously he's hopefully going to help her get out of Phantasma alive, so they've got this kind of like mutual agreement partnership going on, and it's just really fun. I love their dynamic. There's so much banter, so much teasing, but also the element of him helping her throughout each game and each level of Phantasma is kind of endearing. We have had a who did the tea moment, loved it. So yeah, it's really, really fun. I'm having such a good time with it. Maybe I'll binge it all today. I'm gonna take myself off to book club. It doesn't start for like just under an hour, but it's such a sunny day outside. I might just go and sit out for a bit, read this, and yeah, see how we go. But we have 3.5 hours left on our timer, and I finished Phantasma by Katie Smith. This was so fun. Whilst I could see the similarities to things that I've read before, obviously Caraval is a big one, I also feel like I saw minor inspiration from The Chamber of Secrets and also even Once Upon a Time, the TV show. It just still really stands on its own, and it still just feels very like unique. I've said it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. I am a sucker for trials, competitions, anything like that. I love it. I think it makes it so action-packed, and it gives it just it kind of anchors the story well, you know. I feel like there is a very clear chronological story that we're going to be following. I feel like it easily sets an expectation. I kind of know what I'm going to get out of it. There's going to be several chapters related to the trials, and it's going to follow a specific structure, and I find it hard to then be disappointed when I'm following a fantasy book that has trials. It's also just a great excuse to like show magic systems off and different characters, species, race, you know. In, like I say, in this book we follow ghost kind of characters and demons and all that good stuff, and there's obviously a necromancer is our main character, so we get to see some of her abilities. Like, I just find that so interesting. Like, I just love a book with trials. Loved our main character Ophelia. She's really strong-willed. She's a fierce lady, but she's also battling with her own vices, and I love the way that Blackwell, our male main character, is able to ground her and keep her safe. Their relationship was so amazing to watch unravel. He was always very cheeky from the start, and obviously we loved that. Bit of a crazy twist at the end that I did not see coming, and I'm just really excited now to dive into the next book. I don't know if it follows the other sister. I believe it is just going to be a duology, so I'm inclined to think it does follow her sister Genevieve, who we don't see too much of in this book. She definitely seems to be a bit more carefree and a bit more cheeky and like outspoken, whereas whilst Ophelia is a strong woman, she's still quite reserved. It'll be fun to see how the two different sisters are in their respective books. Definitely was more adult than Caraval in regards to the themes. Like, there is several spicy chapters in this book, but also there is a lot of gore. There were some chapters that were genuinely quite scary, so it honestly reminded me, I don't know if I've said this in the video already, but I was saying to my friend who has read this, It also gives me such Squid Game vibes, which might sound really ridiculous and like a far-fetched thing to say, but obviously where Squid Games follows a lot of really fatal, life-threatening trials in games, this is basically the same, but just in a more gothic fantasy setting. So yeah, I'm so glad I picked this up. I don't know why I've been putting it off for so many months. I think I was just scared that I wouldn't like it, but I loved it. And whilst I'm not going to read Enchantress straight after this, I think it will definitely be still in the next couple of weeks or so. So 3.5 hours left on the timer. I could finish a book in that time if I picked something really short, but the book that I really want to read, that is Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. This is the Letters of Enchantment duology. The first book is Divine Rivals, and the way that book ended had me in a freaking chokehold. I did not expect to love that book as much as I did, and the characters, like I was so invested in the characters and my heart broke for them at the end of the first book with what happened. So I can't wait any longer. I have to see how their story wraps up. I'm just really loving duologies at the moment. There's so many really high up on my radar. I think duologies are just the way to go, but we'll see how far we can get. I feel like 3.5 hours could definitely solidify me like halfway through. This is, I think, just over sort of 400 pages, so very unlikely to finish this in this readathon, but I will give it a good try to get as far in as possible and let you guys know how I'm feeling. But yeah, if it's anything like Divine Rivals, I'm going to love this. Just an hour left to go. Here's a jump scare for you all. So the readathon is over. Honestly, the readathon was over about a month ago. If you're still watching, you would know that I haven't posted for like a month. Sorry for ghosting you. I needed a break. The whole social media content creating was just getting way on top of me, and I just kind of left that video in the archives, half edited, and was like, maybe we'll get to it, maybe we won't, but we are getting to it. I do want to finish it, and this is the final piece. I've edited all the rest. I'm jumping on just to finish up and to give a bit of a review on what I had read of Ruthless Vows. Honestly, it was like a month ago, so I'm gonna do my best. I think I only got up to about the halfway point when the readathon ended. From a halfway point perspective, all I really was thinking was that I wasn't as invested as I was in the first book, but I feel like that was kind of to be expected because I knew this book was going to be a lot more politics heavy as opposed to the romance, and the romance is what truly encaptured me in the first book. Like, I was so invested in that, and it was just heartbreaking and magical, and I just loved watching Roman and Iris become. So this book was a lot more focused on the war and the politics, which again, I was expecting that, so it's not like my expectations weren't met, because that is what I was expecting, but nevertheless it just still didn't hit the same for me. Even so, I still really liked the insight into the politics and all the gods and the reason why the war is raging on, and obviously there was a large cliffhanger at the end of Divine Rivals, so I was really pining to know what had happened and what was going to happen from that point onwards. It was a good reading experience. Like I say, I preferred Divine Rivals, but overall a really solid duology and would highly recommend it if you haven't read it already. So in total, if I try and backtrack my memory, we read 5 books in this video. Technically one of them was a DNF, but I was like halfway through that bad boy, so that could have honestly have been a short book in itself. Like a 300 odd page book could have been that, do you know what I mean? So I'm gonna still say I read 5 books, which is pretty crazy to know that I could read 5 books in 24 hours if I just didn't procrastinate. But I am who I am, and I fear I'm always going to procrastinate. So will I be doing a 24-hour readathon anytime soon? Probably not, if I'm being perfectly honest. I really wanted to try it, but it was a lot. Like, it was quite intense, and even though I did the timer method and I spanned it out over like probably 2 weeks or just under in the end, it was just still like, it was a commitment. I'm really glad I did it nevertheless. I hope you have an amazing day wherever you are, and I will catch you next time with a new video. Bye friends.